Water is pouring in towards the crew from all sides. The soldiers have to release their belts and swim to the surface within seconds. Ditching at sea is an emergency, a nightmare scenario for anyone working on any type of aircraft. The Survival at Sea course prepares servicemen and women for exactly this event. There are regular courses in the exercise grounds of the Marine Operations School in Bremerhaven. The course begins with some very important basic principles.
Well, I think it's a good point to make that the training we offer here is one of the few Bundeswehr courses exclusively in the interest of the soldiers. We make sure that if the worst thing happens, and there is a crash and a ditching at sea, troops can actually survive this emergency.
Every soldier has to memorize a checklist to fall back on during a crash over the sea. This increases the chance of survival, even if stress and agitation set in. After the theoretical component, participants have to apply what they have learned in the indoor pool. The main tool in use here is known as the Modular Egress Training Simulator, or METS. This state-of-the-art device resembles the hull of a helicopter or plane and makes for a very realistic training session. As water bursts into the hull, soldiers are trained to keep calm, take a deep breath, and leave the sinking aircraft quickly but calmly. Depending on the position of the aircraft, it can take up to 40 seconds for the last person to reach the surface.
The METS training is, of course, a great challenge. But physical strength is not the main factor. I think it's more about the mental challenge. And mental strength really varies depending on the soldier.
But ditching at sea is just one element of the Survival at Sea course. Participants experience firsthand what happens if your parachute lands on water and what it feels like to be dragged along the surface. There are 2 days of training in the indoor pool. Afterwards, participants head for the North Sea by ship.
The challenge is to be able to access the knowledge that is already there, especially when you're being dragged by the parachute. It is very important to adopt the proper safe body position to avoid swallowing too much water. Some people need more attempts than others, but I think because it's an experienced crew, it will all be done pretty quickly.
The course is mandatory for troops in flying service. They have to take part regularly to receive and maintain their license. But it never becomes routine.
I'm not doing it for the first time, but it's always new. To find out what it's like to jump in and how cold the water is. I think that's very interesting. And you always check. There's the line, and that is the trigger for the emergency radio. And I do believe that these things can become second nature to a degree.
The North Sea is only 7 degrees today. Despite the protective suit, arms and legs go numb very quickly. Participants have to react fast and adopt a certain posture. Practicing these steps in advance helps soldiers do the right thing in extreme situations. Eventually, everybody gathers at the raft. This time there is an additional problem. The raft hasn't inflated properly, something that can also happen in real emergencies. Now it's all about keeping calm and waiting for the helicopter to pull the participants out of the water with a winch. Afterwards, the Sea Lynx takes soldiers back to the ship, where they are helped aboard by the crew. This marks the end of 3 days of learning survival at sea.
We've definitely reached the training target. The participants have put everything into practice here in the North Sea at a water temperature of only 7 degrees. Even if the 20-man life raft didn't inflate properly, the guys improvise really well. I am 100% happy.
All participants have passed the course. This means that they know how to exit their sinking craft safely and quickly in case of a ditching at sea, even though they all hope that they will never have to put this knowledge to the test.